Hello, my wonderful people. Welcome to the stream. Again, it's Tuesday. It's not a Monday stream, I know. But yesterday we did a stream and it was somehow set to private. So if you tried to watch and you weren't able to, sorry about that. As usual, if you are joining in later after the stream has aired and so you get to watch this from the beginning, we're going to chat for a few minutes before we get into the real meat of it. So skip ahead a little bit if you want to get to the stuff in the description. But today, essentially, we are going to be talking about IPTV services. We're going to be talking about Seinfeld's new streaming home and broadcast home. And we're also going to be talking about the new NBC Universal streaming service, which we've talked about in previous videos and previous streams. Now it has a name. The name is Peacock, which is interesting, I suppose. Anyway, so we're going to get to all of that stuff, but first we are going to wait for people to trickle in. I want to make sure that this is actually working today. Like I said yesterday, we had a little bit of trouble with it, and so I want to make sure that people are able to get in and watch. In fact, while I'm streaming, you guys, I am live testing this. It looks like it is working. I just want to make sure. Yeah, it looks like it's working. So, yesterday was a disaster, and I'm sorry about it. So, all right, so let me exit out of that. No more live testing. Oh, okay. So, Emmanuel. Yeah, we're gonna hide that one. That's the thing, is like the jokes write themselves. I get it. I'm not gonna reprint it. Hello, Andy. Hello, Leonard. Hello, Turtle. The old turtle. That's a great screen name. I'm glad you guys could join. Like I said, I'm going to give it a few minutes for people to start rolling in. But if you'd like, hit the chat over on the right. Let me know what you think of the new service, the new NBC Universal service named Peacock. I think let's just say I'm not sold at this point. I think they could have maybe come up with something a little bit better, but hey, what do I know? I'm not a marketing genius. Caleb, you think it is genius. Much better than using the company name with plus or max. That I will give you. Yes. I don't like this particular name, but I've beat this drum before. I think that Dish was really smart when they called their streaming service Sling TV, so that people don't immediately connect it with that telecom company that they hate, because we all hate every telecom company, or at least we're supposed to. Anyway, so yeah, I think they were really smart to separate that. NBC Universal, yes, it's good that it's not like NBC Plus, I agree. But in this case, I'm not so sure about Peacock. So, hello, let's see, is it Vident? And hello, Emmanuel, Victor, Caleb, True Dog, let's see. It is unique. That's true. All right. So it calls back to NBC's history. If you know the NBC logo, and I'll throw that up on the screen in just a moment. The NBC logo has always been that Peacock fan ever since. So the reason that they came out with that was back when color TVs were first being distributed. And so people were finally getting color TVs in their home. NBC wanted to show off what the colors could do, and so they had this rainbow array, and they decided a stylized peacock would work, and so they could do all these different colors with it. In fact, yeah, let's just go pull it up right now. Let's go original NBC Peacock logo and see if I can find, there it is. So it looked something like this. Here we go. Let's see if that works. Yeah, so this is what the original Peacock logo looked like, and so the idea was you could see everything. So I get it. Yeah, it's all about the history of NBC, and that Peacock. Now that logo is obviously a little bit different, but it's the same idea. So, Reliance, welcome back. Nice to see you. I see you are not late. Nope, we always wait just a few minutes before we get started on the actual content here, so you are good. All right, what did Netflix announce? All right, well, we're going to get to Netflix in just a moment. First, I want to start with IPTV. So this is a topic that has been requested lots and lots. Here in the live chats, in the comments on our other videos, I have people all the time asking, hey, are you going to talk about IPTV? Why don't you talk more about IPTV, Internet Protocol Television? If you're not familiar with this, essentially what it is there are hundreds or thousands of these IPTV services that bundle together channels and deliver them for ultra cheap, sometimes for free. And so they have always been on... they've always been a little bit dubious. The phrase I often use is of dubious legal merit. And so it's been tough for me to say, hey, go check these out, because I don't know for sure whether, this or that IPTV service is legit, whether they've jumped through the right hoops to get the copyrighted content that they are broadcasting. So that's why I've often avoided it. And it turns out, and this is not a blanket statement. I'm not saying that every IPTV service out there is on the wrong side of the law or something like that. But there have been reports. I got this from cordcuttersnews.com. It's a good source for news tidbits like this. That 50 million IPTV service customers have lost their service. And so this first started in Europe, where authorities went after some of these services and started shutting them down for copyright infringement. And when that worked, Hollywood got in on the game. The MPAA started going after IPTV services here in the U.S. and started shutting them down. And often they were shut down with no warning. And so customers were left in a lurch. Suddenly their TV service didn't work anymore. And some of these customers had prepaid for a year or more. And so they tried to call the company and say, hey, are you going to prorate my fee? Are you going to, give me back some of my money? Customer service calls went unanswered. Messages were unreturned. Social media accounts from these companies were deleted. And so people are being left in the lurch, and it kind of sucks. So, Andy, I don't know if it's I don't know about the illegality of IPTV generally. I don't know if it categorically it's illegal, but obviously some of these services were skating on the wrong side of that line. All right, so I will. Anyway, so I apologize. I'm getting distracted by everybody's comments. So I think for you guys they're over here. For me they're over here. But I'm getting distracted there. Essentially, my thought is this is why I don't really talk much about IPTV on our channel or here in these chats. Is like I said, I'm just not sure whether I'm able to really say, that it's a good idea for people to sign up for them. Not even necessarily because of the potential illegality. Like I've said before, I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand that stuff. But because I know that those rumors are out there, and because of stuff like this story that I'm talking about, it's hard for me to recommend it because you don't know if it's going to be around. You don't know how reliable it's going to be, especially if they're asking you to prepay for however long that time is. But if you're talking about something like Netflix or Sling TV or Disney Plus or these services, they jump through all the right hoops, right? They're going to be around in 6 months, in 12 months, in 5 years. Maybe not in exactly the same form as we've talked about before, but they're going to be around. All right, so let me hit up some of these comments. Netflix, George, we'll get to Netflix next. Old Turtle, what do you think about the new show on Amazon, Lord of the Rings? Probably a little bit off topic for me right now, so I'll probably leave that. I am cautiously optimistic. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. You can see all these nerdy books behind me. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Let's see. Is it true that Peacock will be free with ads? We'll get there in just a sec. Emmy Awards. Kamran, we're not going to talk about the Emmy Awards, partly because I didn't watch and I didn't look at the winners. I find it really hard to I find it really hard to care in real time. I will look up the winners later and kind of see what the stories were, but I don't really watch awards shows. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So Caleb, you are making a great point about IPTV itself is not illegal because Sling and YouTube TV, those are IPTV services. That is correct. And that's why, yeah, it's hard. I don't say categorically IPTV is bad because that's all it is. It's TV that's delivered over the internet instead of over a hard cable connection or something. Or a satellite connection. Anyway, so you're right on the money there. Emmanuel, I'm curious about original programming in the EU from these new streaming services. By law, you must produce a certain amount of local TV series in order to enter the EU market space. That's a great question. I don't know enough about EU law, but I know what you're talking about. For a little while, I lived in France, and so I got to see a little bit of what you're talking about, but I didn't familiarize myself with the legalities of all that stuff. But it's a good question, good thing for me possibly to look into. But since most of what we talk about, or almost all of what we talk about, is U.S.-centric stuff for a U.S. audience, might be a little bit outside my purview. But it is an interesting question that I would like to know, if only just for myself. George, I haven't gotten to Netflix yet. Let's see. So yeah, hang in there. The name Peacock, True Dog says the name Peacock isn't exactly great, but at least it's distinct enough from the parent company. Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of the Plus, right? Disney Plus, Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, whatever. All right. So let's talk about Netflix. The big news is essentially, that Friends is leaving Netflix next year, or at the end of this year. So is The Office, and those are by far the two most watched shows on Netflix. The big news is that they did acquire a new big mega 90s sitcom, and that is Friends. So Netflix has acquired Friends, gosh, I'm not that smart. They acquired Seinfeld. So they've acquired Seinfeld, and that will start in 2021. So they're going to go through all of 2020 without these marquee programs. That's not to say they won't have anything. Of course, they'll have other things to entice you. But these kind of nostalgia trips are really big these days, and they're going to go through all of 2020 without any of the mega shows. So they won't have Two and a Half Men, they won't have Big Bang Theory, they won't have Friends or The Office, or Frasier will leave Netflix, I believe. And I'll talk about why I think that in just a moment. But yeah, anyway, it's a big deal for Netflix. So Diana, you say you never watched Friends or The Office or Seinfeld. Curious to see how losing these big names are going to impact Netflix in the long term. So am I. I'm kind of in that boat. I don't care for The Office personally. I get its appeal, but it's not quite my thing and not my style of humor. But I love Friends. I will Friends trivia anybody under the table. I love that show, but I love it so much I have all the DVDs, so I don't really care where it goes because I can watch it at any time. But I am curious to see what it does with the industry kind of fragmenting and everybody taking all of their toys and going and playing in their own sandbox. I'm interested to see what Netflix is going to be able to do, and if they're going to switch their original content strategy, where as of now it's been blanket coverage. Just throw a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, throw a lot of money at a couple of marquee programs like Stranger Things or House of Cards, something like that, where you can throw a lot of money at a few things and then a little bit of money at a ton of other things and just blanket it with, look at all this original content we have. I wonder if that will be sustainable in the face of something like Apple TV Plus. or Disney Plus, where they're funneling all their original content budget into a few very big budget programs. I'll be interested to see how that shakes out. All right, so that's the big news on those. And now we should probably talk about what we know about Peacock. So Peacock is the new NBC Universal streaming service. Apparently this video is brought to you by Fresca. Again. It's the new NBC Universal streaming service, and we know a few things about it. So I'll run through a couple. What's more important is what we don't know. We don't know the price for sure, but what we do know is that there will be 2 tiers. Somebody was asking earlier in the chat about whether it would be free but commercial supported. I don't believe that will be the case. As of right now, they're saying that it will be paid for the 2 different tiers, whether it's ad-supported or ad-free, but it'll be it'll be like the Hulu model or the CBS All Access model, where I assume, like I said, we don't know the price, but say $5 for, if you want to watch with ads, and $10 if you want to watch without ads. Something along those lines, 7 and 12, I don't know. But it'll be pretty familiar with what we've seen, like I said, with Hulu and with CBS All Access. So that's what we know about the price. We don't know the exact launch date, but they are saying sometime in April of 2020. So that's 6-7 months away. 6 or 7 months away for launch on this one. And as we get closer, they'll either nail down the actual date in April, or they'll say, we haven't quite hit our timeline yet, and they'll push it back, and it'll be summer of 2020. But I assume that it would be that they would want to get on top of this pretty quick, especially because there's such a head start from Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus. They don't want to wait too long to get into the game. Reliance, you haven't had a Fresca? Well, this one's delicious. This is a peach citrus Fresca, and delightful. We also don't know, when it comes to Peacock, we don't know about the devices that it will be available on. This is another one of those things that usually gets announced as we get a little bit closer. That was the case with Disney Plus, where they yeah, exactly. With Disney Plus, they announced the devices only a few weeks ago, really. And so it's been, 3 or 4 weeks. So when they were about 3 months away from launch, they announced which devices it would be available on. Of course, Disney Plus is not available as of now on the Fire TV devices. So hopefully that'll change. But anyway, I assume that in another 3 to 4 months, we'll get an announcement from NBCUniversal on what Peacock will be available on. Okay, so now what we do know is some of what will be available as far as programming. So let me throw this up there. This is not an exhaustive list, but it will give us some idea of what is coming up on Peacock. Now, this is just the TV shows. I was tempted to bold the ones that I'm excited for, but I'll let you decide which ones are exciting to you or not. I think a lot of people are going to be excited about Downton Abbey, Frasier, Battlestar Galactica. More on that in just a moment. 30 Rock will be a big one. Do people still care about the Kardashians? I don't know. I didn't mean that to come off quite so judgmental, but is that still a thing that is happening? I'm not sure. I am excited for Psych. I loved that show when it was on. So, John Boyd is announcing the end of network TV. I've been announcing that for a year or two, but it's a slow death. And it's not a death. That's the thing is, people have been predicting the end of radio since the invention of the television. This thing is not sustainable, but it just goes through different forms and survives in different ways. And so, will network television die? No, it won't die. But it will not be the network television that we know. It'll be really different, I think, in 5 or 10 years from what we know now. Caleb, we're okay. Yeah, let's get there. Let's go talk about. Well, yeah, we're gonna get there in just a second. Here are a few of the movies that, and that's the thing is like this is just a few. NBC Universal owns a massive library. These are just some of the movies that they thought would kind of get people excited. So I know some of them get me excited. Back to the Future is great. Casino's great. Knocked Up and Bridesmaids. I think those are both Paul Feig movies, and I like both of those quite a lot. Field of Dreams and Jaws. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they're gonna have a lot of properties that people will be interested. That I think you and I will both be quite interested in. And then there are the originals. So, as you mentioned, Caleb, there is a Battlestar Galactica reboot, a Saved by the Bell reboot, and for some reason, as if we weren't confused enough already by those, Punky Brewster is getting a reboot. Oi, I don't know why. Is there still a huge contingent of Gen Xers who are holding on to their sweet memories of Punky Brewster? I don't know. Maybe it'll be really successful, but I have my doubts. And then The Office. Okay, so I put a maybe next to this because this hasn't been announced and it isn't anywhere near official. But reporters have asked the folks at Peacock whether this is in the works, and they have said we want to make it happen. It's our goal to make an Office reboot happen. Of course, they've got to get actors on board, and they've got to find a storyline. They've got to find directors and all that stuff. It's a long process to get something like that to happen, but they do want it to happen, and I'm sure that plenty of other people do as well. Let's see. Emmanuel saying people will definitely subscribe for the movies. The original series seem weak. Yeah, I mean it's tough to say for sure. There's a Spanish language original. There's I know One of Us is Lying is based on a YA novel, I believe, or series of novels. And then Brave New World is the Aldous Huxley book. In the vein of 1984, they're doing an adaptation of that. So there's there isn't anything that jumps out like oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to watch that. Over on Apple TV Plus, they're doing the new Jason Momoa series. Is it called Sight or See or Eyeballs, about the blind, the blind future of humanity. Anyway, like that looks really cool, and you think like, oh, I gotta watch that. I haven't seen anything on any of these. I assume they haven't actually started producing them quite yet, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, let's see. Oh, it's called C. That's right. Did I say that at one point? Yeah, I can never quite remember. It's too much. There's too much of this info crowding around for space in my head. Anyway, so yeah, I'm curious with all of this. I'm curious about what your thoughts are on Peacock, and I want you to hit the chat and let me know in the chat what your plans are as far as whether this is something that you would subscribe to. Is it something you're going to get right away? Is it something where I want to watch The Office, so maybe I'll get it in 2021, or is it something that just doesn't really interest you? And a lot of this, I think, would depend on the price, but let's assume that it's a reasonable price point, $5 or $7, and you can get the NBC Universal streaming app Peacock. Is this something that you're interested in at all? So let me know in the comments, in that chat. And this is, I love these chat bars because I can come back to these, and I like hearing what you guys have to say when I am prepping for other videos that I'll do in the future, because there will be more news about this and I'll be able to chat more about it. All right. And let me know if you have any other questions while we're in the comments. I'm just reading through, making sure that I've caught up on the comments over here. Jason, you're interested in finding out if they'll give you a live feed of your local channels like CBS All Access does. Does CBS All Access give you your... I haven't used it in months, so forgive me. I haven't been in there in a while, but are they giving you your get Fox and NBC and ABC affiliates. That would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they had the local CBS affiliate. And same thing with this NBC app. Maybe they would have a live feed of your local NBC affiliate. But with everybody kind of separating, I wouldn't see cooperation lasting for too long. Caleb, you're saying you'll probably try it out at launch, but probably won't subscribe until the originals start coming out. Yeah, it sounds about right for me too. I think I would pop in and see. My problem is that I spend so much time on other stuff that I don't have a ton of time to devote to, watching a bunch of movies. I think I agree with, who was it? Emmanuel saying that the original series seem weak, but definitely would subscribe for the movies. That's kind of the boat I'm in. Like, they've got a great library. I just don't know if I would have the time to devote to consuming that library. But it is nice, the idea of being able to get rid of your DVD shelf and pay a few different services, say $15 or $20 a month total, to essentially have an infinite movie library that you can dip into anytime. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Emmanuel saying if you're in the US, you wouldn't be bothered to subscribe to Peacock. Yeah. Okay, so guys, let's start wrapping this up. We've been going almost a half hour, so if you have any last minute questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Next week, I'll be back on Monday next week. Like I said, this week was a weird one. Yesterday I had some technical issues where YouTube decided to unilaterally make it a private video, so if you tried to log in, you couldn't see it. Sorry about that. But next week we'll be back on track. I'll do this again on Monday. All right. John, disgusted with network TV. I get it. Reality and game shows interspersed with comedy shows and laugh tracks. So you must have hated TV in the 90s. But, like I was saying earlier, TV is going to change. It's going to go through lots of different iterations. It already has, and it'll go through another one now with the streaming services sucking up so much oxygen in the room. Okay, Callie, I'm still on cable, but I'm finally done with it. I'm holding out for Disney Plus bundle and Netflix with an over-air for locals. Yep, that's perfect setup. I really like that. Patrick, any news on Disney Plus offering a bundle that includes Hulu with live TV? As far as I know, that is a go. But I haven't heard the official price on that, but I assume we can extrapolate from what it costs now that it would be, somewhere in the range of $55-$60 to get the bundle with ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. So yeah, Breaking Bad movie trailer comes out. You watch. Is there a movie trailer out now? YouTube TV still getting PBS this fall, as far as I know. I haven't heard anything different on that. Do you think Netflix will eventually have to consider an ad-supported revenue model in one of its subscription options? Ooh, that's a good question. Here, I'm gonna pull this back up. That's a great question from True Dog. I could see that being the case, although there's also something to be said for being a different player in the market where everybody around you is doing ad-supported models and you are staying firm and saying, no, commercials suck. Nobody will ever watch a single commercial as long as they are subscribed to our service. I think there's something to be said for that because people of a certain generation hate commercials. And, my kids get confused when we watch live TV and they're like, what's this show about a toy that only lasts 30 seconds? They don't know what a commercial is. So, I could see there continuing to be room for a service that kind of puts its foot down and says no commercials ever. On the other hand, I could see them going the way that you're describing. It could. Caleb, I suspect live TV will become like radio with local channels becoming more independent like radio stations are. That could be true. We could be headed toward a glorious new Wayne's World future where it's all local access cable and very low revenue, very low budget. Much like radio has become now. It's struggling to survive in the way that it used to, so it's having to come up with new ways of doing things. Emmanuel, do you think Netflix is going to lower the price since there's an increasing amount of competition? Not as long as they go at the clip they're currently going at. If they keep producing, 15, 18, 19 billion dollars worth of content every year, they have to pay for that. They're already in the red. They are already losing money. But they're promising investors that it's all about building that stable base so that you have the library going forward. If they keep spending to keep that library refreshing, if they keep spending at their current rate, no, I don't see them lowering their price. In fact, I see them continuing to raise it potentially. Although that would be more difficult now with all these other competitive services, like you say. Netflix should buy one of these studies if they survive. I don't know what you mean. Anyway, they're Netflix have a strong, as far as my uneducated opinion goes, they have a strong financial base, but they're going to have to start making money soon or they're screwed. And I know Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus would love to just bury Netflix, and so they're going to do everything they can on that. Anyway, all right, let's call it there for this week. You guys, it's been a half hour, and I have to get to another meeting, so I've got to go, but I'm really appreciative. I'm glad you guys log in, and it's nice to see some familiar faces week after week. Love seeing everybody who logs back in, so, come back next week, come back the week after that. I love having you, and I love bouncing my ideas off you guys and hearing what you have to say. It's educational for me as well as anybody else. So, all right, I will see you next Monday, and later this week we'll be releasing a video about Xfinity. I hope you hang out for that one. That's going to be an interesting one. I could get some hate mail on that because it's essentially a video about how everybody hates Xfinity, but they probably shouldn't because it's actually pretty good. So I started out doing a review of Xfinity, but it kind of morphed into this pushback against everybody who hates Xfinity. So I'll be interested to hear what everybody has to say. I hope you will comment on that video when it comes out. So if you haven't, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you're notified when that video comes out. I'd love to hear what you have to say right away on that one in the comments section. That'll come out tomorrow, I believe. So watch for that. Irvish, you're going to send me the hate mail, like pre-hate mail before the video comes out. Yeah, that's much appreciated. info@reviews.org. Send it my way. That's fine. Jason, I know, sometimes it can be frustrating. I get it. But anyway, all right, I really do have to go, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Have a good one.